Okay, the mental health pandemic, Saturn and Pisces. We have to start talking about this because, yes, I think women are going to be the most affected because they're going to be tied into like male subconscious behavior and non-binary as well, which is going to have a profound effect on women. And I do think, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but Saturn and Pisces were destined for a fucking fall in the pharmaceutical industry. There's going to be silencing. Women will be tried to be controlled. Non-binary will try to be controlled. Twin flames will try to be controlled. All these people will try to control people, but the twin flames, this is the golden age. So it's the time for us to rise. Twin flames, I'm talking to you. You need to rise up. This is the time where you need to protect your personality, your body, your mind, and your spirit and your soul. I think a lot of people will come to you because you will have the brightest light, yet you will have to realize how to contain the light and how to share it. That's the whole message. How do you share this light? But how do you also contain it? You're going to see the saddest people in the world. How are you going to do the shadow work to make sure your needs are met? A lot of this is twin flames will need to go into Reiki because the only way out of this is through Reiki. You know what I mean? There's just going to be a lot of illusions. Remember, Saturn, if you go back to Saturn, and you know where it is in your first house, and you know Neptune is trying to blow the scene up, Saturn's going to cut it. And it's going to be like, there's no time for this bullshit. Nobody has time for the bullshit, the controlling paradigm. That's fallen to ashes. You're going to learn how to love your voice. You're going to learn how to love your vision. You're going to learn how to believe in the person you love and just drop the ball on everything. I want to see twin flames drop the ball on toxic family. I want to see twin flames drop the ball on toxic friends. I want to see twin flames like rise to their other twin flames need. I want to see that. Is that so bad? Is this so extreme? There's so much more extreme behavior going on. Is this so extreme that I'm saying this? I'm in a very liberal country. I can say these things as a young woman. I can say these things as a young twin flame myself. But as a young independent woman, a thinker of herself, are you going to let these energies constantly undermine who you are? Are you going to do the shadow work, pick up the slack, and move the fuck forward? Because the energy that we're given, this time frame, is the time frame where you can create your new ideal self and stick to it. The gods and goddesses, everybody's giving you the room to do you. But are you going to step up to the challenge, or are you going to be belittled by your misbelief of who you truly are? You're not your reflection. No, you're not the reflection in the mirror. You're not even who people say you are. Your spirit. Are you going to let your spirit rise? Are you going to work on your Kundalini rising? Are you going to work on Kundalini yoga, Kundalini meditation? Are you going to grow up out of old belief patterns and create more boundaries and radical self-love? Or are you going to be constantly undermined? Because right now, there's a lot of personality disorders, twin flames. And there's going to be a lot of illusions. Like, people are going to play like another person. They're going to be like, I'm this person. But they're really not. They're really not that person. And you're going to learn really quickly. Let your solar plexus breathe, twins. And what that means is actually when you let your solar plexus breathe is you pull back, right? So when you pull back, you realize you did everything out of kindness. You did everything out of respect. There's no shame, no anger. And when you pull back, that creates the step for other people to rise to their own divine masculinity or their own divine femininity. Only when you step back. If you're constantly protruding yourself into other people's lives, constantly projecting yourself into other people's business, you will only feel the resistance to let people rise up to who they are. Twins, this is the moment to give other people room to breathe, to be themselves, so that you can be given the room to breathe and be yourself. If you're constantly clinging on to so many peoples and places and things that have outdated you, you will struggle through these next few months of rapid transformation. You will struggle through these months of rapid transformation. That's right. We're in the spring equinox. This is a time of not only mastering what you've sewn and becoming the perfect crocheted sweater, but it's also the time of saying no. Spirits, angels, guardians, they're all around us, yet the physicality of things, your location will start to matter. What does that mean? Okay, I'm here. Who are you in the city? Who do you want to be? Do you want to help your community? These are the things Saturn in Pisces is going to ask of us. I'm a native Saturn in Pisces. This is my Saturn return, and I've already learned that radical boundaries on my personality is needed. Literally, Saturn is on my progressed rising Pisces, and I'm having to go off of social media because it's freaking Neptune at its worst right now. The attention span, the glyphs, you know what I mean? It's just Neptune. And I'm not even on it, but I can feel it. And I can feel how, like, it's so interesting when you hang out with people. Sometimes they're like, oh my God, did you go on Instagram? Did you add me on Instagram? It's just so funny. People, like, point to Instagram so strongly as their identity. And it's cute. But how I see and how I view you in person is very, very different from how I see you on Instagram. Your Instagram is your fan page, I like to call it. It's the highlighted moments. What are you a fan of? Your personality is the person that your person, all with the shadow, with the happiness. That's you in your totality. I'm off Instagram, and it feels great. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Underwater Astrology, out. I find it hilarious that these programs like Virtual DJ haven't still updated. Like programs like Final Cut Pro are still running slow. Like I find it so interesting that money and power is so focused on social media, and you feel it when you come off, and you feel it, and it's like, it's not necessarily good power. I'll tell you that. Having influence over people is not necessarily a good thing. Look at Kanye West, fucking traitor to the human fucking race. Obviously, it's fuck Kanye for an eternity. But I think it's interesting how we put so much pressure on people to post, so much pressure on people to be a part of that culture, when in true nature, we should be focusing on creating new music, new movies, working together and collaborating. But people are so focused on kind of like projecting, or I think projecting how they feel about an issue, or projecting how they feel about the past. Or projecting, trying to attract energy for the future. And I think it's interesting. I think, obviously, thank God Saturn's in Pisces. Again, there's going to be budget cuts with attention span on Neptune. And I think with Saturn here, as a collective, we should all be journaling more. I mean, if people started journaling more, there would be less anger in the world. If people started meditating more, there would be less anger in the world. If people started doing yoga, there would be less anger. But so many people, even working out, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I think a lot of people have pent up energy, and they were never given the privilege as a kid to let go of that energy or work out. They were taught really bad habits. And I want to insert this book, Unstoppable by Ben Angel, one of my favorite books on biohacking, and why we should all be biohacking and recycling and be better at global warming and all of that. And I have a PDF, and you can purchase it for $10, link below. But I do think there's a lot to be said about biohacking and really like rendering down the essentials for survival. And when you start doing that as a twin flame, I think you start realizing, like, I could live in a smaller house, okay? I could live for cheaper rent. I could live in on a budgeted diet. I could live with rendered clothes. You know what I mean? I don't need flashy clothes. I think as twins, the more you work on yourself, your energy starts speaking for yourself. And that's really amazing. And I think, like, you know, a lot of people are hooked on addictions right now. A lot of people we're working with addictions and the shame and identity and the stigma with admitting you have an addiction to something. And why that's so hard is because a lot of people don't know they're addicted to something unless somebody has the audacity and the the attention span to point out that someone is addicted to something. You know what I mean? So it's so important, as now a sound healing practitioner, to point to people's addictions and kind of be like, it's okay to be addicted to this, but why are you addicted to that? Why are we addicted to kind of like even sexual gratification? Why are we addicted to like buying things? Why are we addicted to, I don't know, eating certain foods? Why are we addicted to validation? I think on a very humane level, for the human consciousness and the evolution of that, I think there's a lot to be said. Like women, for example, I identify as a woman, I'm a cis female. I do think that there is something to be said about, this asteroid at Aldebran and us moving into Mars and Sirius and getting really serious about our drive. And it is calling to question. We were just in Mars and Aldebran, right? And that was really difficult for me. It was really alpha, which caused a lot of temporary delusionment. And that's the thing with alpha. It's not bad, right? Like having that temporary delusionment. But it is really important to be like, why did we all feel this strange pressure with Mars and Gemini, right? Because Mars and Gemini was very intense. We had it we almost had it for a year. And my reflection of that whole experience was, I started off Mars and Gemini being the most chatty, boyish charm, kind of tomboy girl hanging out with everyone. And then it was rendered down to like completely hanging out with like enough people I can count on my hand, to completely getting off the phones on certain, like I have boundaries with my phones. Like it has to be strictly business if I'm on the phone, or it doesn't have to be strictly business, but I'll tell you this, I've rendered my usage of the phone for sure. So it's just really sad where we've gotten to this place of like, after Mars and Aldebran, we're kind of left in Mars and Cancer and Sirius, which is a lot better for our mental health, but it's a lot more like obvious. The delusionment the society has kind of echoed. It's the Bible, in essence, there's themes of the Bible. There are themes in every religion that they've talked of this time, and now it's being echoed in society. But if we break it down and start doing the biohacking, you realize there's also a lot going on with the world and just the energy it's going in. It's not really necessarily about who you are in how you look anymore. I really don't think it's like how you look matters. I really do believe it's who your vision is and how you empower your vision and become unstoppable in that. And I think a lot of things come into question when I even say that, is a lot of quietness that happens when you start journaling and biohacking and you start living this peaceful life. Is you start seeing there's just a lot of, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a lot of energy is just directed in places where there's a lot of money and power, and that might not necessarily be good. And I think one thing about living where I live is that we have a steady economy. It's not the strongest in the country, but it is interesting at night. It really is quiet here, and getting used to that. And what does that mean? And like, what are you filling up the empty spaces with? And it comes into question of like, if anyone is out there getting off of social media or starting their new business as an entrepreneur, keep going. This is my message for you, is just keep going. I think there is money there are grants, there are loans, but it requires you having to understand that Mars is in Cancer, and Cancer is serious, and it wants you to be serious about what you're doing, and it also wants you to generate revenue, because Cancer is a sign of business as well. Like, when I think of Cancer, I think of business. I think of business, I think of family, but I also think of protection. And that's the thing, is like, where are you on your frequency, and like, where do you want to be? Because Mars in Cancer can take you, Mars in Cancer is the kind of energy that can match your frequency. So if you want to get really well with your business, right, then now is the time to ride that frequency of, I'm riding the frequency of getting my business done. Put the mantras in, fill up your calendar with a bunch of dates and stuff on rendering out your vision. I know for the introverts and omniverts out there, it is complicated time, because there's some of us who want to start businesses, but find it very hard because you have to be so extroverted now, because so many people randomly want to talk on the phone now. It's very hard to reach a person by email. Some people just make it really complicated. Some people make it a lot easier. It's going to be working with other people and working with that strategy of like your belief system. This is your belief system with what you know. And I wish my soulmates, my twins, and lovers of business and society really well on trying to manifest their business with this energy, Mars in Cancer, the transit. So we have Mars in Cancer, and today and tomorrow we're going through the Moon in Leo, which is maybe not the most easiest energy, because Moon in Leo is definitely highlighting the way you feel of, I guess, Moon in Leo is kind of like highlighting the heart. And you could use this energy really well, because Moon in Leo is highlighting the heart. So you realize, like, what is coming to your heart? Don't ignore that. Get a journal, get a pen and notepad, right? And just be like, okay, I feel this, but I know this. You know what I mean? I know that there's something off. So I know it's not me. I want everyone to really tap into, there's just something off right now. Moon in Leo opposed Pluto and Aquarius, right? We're seeing Pluto. Pluto's like connect. But the Moon in Leo, she's also wanting to be seen. So today is the perfect day, and tomorrow for connection. Monday and Tuesday is the perfect day for connection and making small connects. But work with the limitations of, DNA is back in Gemini, so keep it local. You know what I mean? Like, don't go too far out. I think the more further out we go, the darker the territory can go. You know what I mean? This is DNA and Aldebran, okay? This is about survival right now. What are your belief systems for survival, So it's like really important to understand, like, I'm bringing up asteroids not many people talk about, but these are things that can help you balance out maybe some of what other astrologers are saying, or to help you create your own territory for astrology. And when you look at it, what are the asteroids you resonate with? Do you resonate with Cupido and Valentine and those asteroids? Or do you resonate with Hygeia and knowing where Lucifer is and those asteroids? It's not black and white. Astrology is definitely gray matter. And it was interesting. I was looking at sound healing today because I'm very passionate about that. It's very much my life, and I'm trying to pretty much make my life sound healing with scheduling out a schedule where I just am dedicated to sound healing every day of the week, Monday to Friday. And that's my whole purpose right now for the next year, is to schedule Monday to Friday my my sound healing business. And I'm giving myself 1 year to fill up that week. And with that, it's because it's my business, a lot of more chattier behavior is coming up because of DNA and Gemini, but realizing like it is Aldebran. Like just because Gemini is the twins and just because Gemini is the most chattiest of the sign does not mean that Geminis are always the loudest talker in the room. Sometimes Geminis are the quietest people, and that's because it's to open up a Gemini solar, they have to not talk for other people to come into who they are. And with DNA being an Aldebran, if you feel like you've given yourself, like some people are going to feel like, okay, I've given myself enough space to let other people talk. Now is the time to go out and try something new. Like follow Pluto and Aquarius, try something new, right? Because Pluto's going to be trining Aldebran, you know? We have the energy of survival right now. You know, we were just in Pluto opposing Sirius, which was really intense. I don't want to go back to that. Now we have Pluto and Aquarius trining Aldebran. So Pluto and Aquarius trining Aldebran is telling me like, instead of being super chatty all the time, now's the time to like try new things. Like for me at least, like, and I'm sure other people will resonate with this, like try new things. You know what I mean? Like, did you try this sparkling water? Did you try Indian food? Did you try Ethiopian food? Did you try that amazing Thai restaurant? You know what I mean? Now's the time to try new things, you know? I think in a lot of ways, what systems are we empowering with Pluto trine Aldebran? Like, are we empowering the system of enslavement to these social media? Or are we learning to try new avenues for mental wellness? Okay, closing out, underwater, astrology, here for ya.